Hello friends, I am Guna Mathivanan, Current Affairs faculty at Officers IAS Academy. I am coming up with the Current Affairs hit list video series for your Prelims 2021. So in this program, I am planning to discuss one important current affair topic every day. So through which I am planning to cover roughly 200 topics. So towards the end, I will be covering more number of topics. So minimum I am planning to cover 200 topics before your Prelims 2021. So today in this video we will start with our first topic, that is minimum support price, MSP. So we will try to understand MSP by taking an example. So what is it? Let us take a farmer. Okay, let us take a farmer. This farmer, okay, his name is Guna. Now this farmer, he is growing rice. He is growing rice, and the farmer can sell his farm produce to government or to private player. Okay, today farmer can take his farm produce, he can sell it to government or he can sell it to private player. Whoever is giving more money, farmer is going to, Guna is going to, I am that farmer. If government gives me more money, I will go to government. If private gives more money, I will go to private. At what price government is going to buy the rice from Guna? That price, the price at which the government buys the food grains from Guna, which we are referring to minimum support price. This minimum support price, that price will be announced to Guna even before the sowing season itself. Let us assume that Guna is growing rice. Rice is a kharif crop, so it will be grown during the monsoon period. So between June to September, Guna is going to grow the rice. At what price government will buy? At what price government will buy this rice will be announced to Guna even before the sowing season. That means in the month of May itself. In the month of May itself, government will say, okay, Guna rice, you will buy it for 20 rupees per kg. Some amount will be said. That is the minimum support price. Okay. So in the month of October, Guna, if he wants to sell it to government, he can go to government. Government will ensure that they are buying it for minimum 20 rupees per kg. Government, they can also revise the price, but they will ensure that they are not buying for less than 20 rupees. Okay, minimum government will buy for 20 rupees, maybe based on the situation in the month of October, it can be 22, 23, 24. At the time of procurement, the price may vary, but at any point of time, the price may not fall below MSP. So minimum price is guaranteed, that is 20 rupees per kg. Now Guna in the month of October, he can sell it to private or government. If private is going to pay 25, 26, 27 rupees per kg, no problem. If the private is not buying it for a price which is above than 20 rupees, then automatically Guna will be going and selling his farm produce to government. Right? Very simple. Government says, government assures, Guna, you don't worry. Even if no one buys, I will buy. Government gives a guarantee, assurance to the farmers that farmers, you don't worry, you don't panic. There is so much of uncertainty in farming activity, but that's okay. Even if private players are not buying, you don't worry. You confidently, you grow rice, you grow wheat, you grow pulse. Government is there, government will buy. Government will assure you a minimum support price. Right? So government guarantees, from their side government guarantees, it gives confidence to the farmers. Right? So now it's Guna's choice. If private is going to give more, then I will go to private or else I will go to government. Right? So this is the concept of MSP. This minimum support price, this concept, it got started from 1965. Roughly from 1965, the MSP as a concept, it got started. The MSP, the price, let's say 20 rupees per kg or whatever may be the price, that price is recommended by CACP, that is Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices, it is an office under Ministry of Agriculture. under Ministry of Agriculture, we have a office called as CACP. So this CACP is going to recommend, it is going to recommend, okay, for rice let the MSP be 20 rupees per kg, for pulse let the MSP be 17 rupees per kg, for wheat let the MSP be 19 rupees per kg, roughly randomly I am saying. Okay, so CACP will recommend, but it is the government which will approve. It is the government which will finally approve. The government will say, okay, so this year let this amount be the MSP for rice, for wheat, for this season this amount be the MSP for pulses. It is the government, they will take the final decision, but it is CACP that will be recommending the price. That will be recommending the price. Now you may have a doubt, okay sir, but how that price is arrived? Let's say in my example I said rice is going to be 20 rupees per kg, right? I said, so how this amount has been arrived? How the CACP is calculating this MSP? So there is a formula, that's a formula. So the MSP formula which currently the government uses is A2 plus FL. So what is that A2 plus FL? Here A2 that refers to the input cost. For farmer, for Guna, what are all the inputs? Okay, for seed I am spending some money, for fertilizer I am spending some money, for pesticides I am spending some money, like that there are some input cost, right? So CACP, while deciding that MSP, it takes into account of the input cost. So A2 refers to input cost. Then as a family, Guna's family, 4 or 5 members in Guna's family, they are working in the farm field, right? Of course, whatever profit is being made, Guna's family is going to enjoy. But however, Guna's family is working in that farm field, Guna's family is working in that farm field, Guna's family is giving their labor in that process for 4 or 5 months in the cropping season. For their labor, Guna's family is not getting any payment. Guna's family's labor is being unpaid. So that unpaid family labor should also be taken into account according to government. So government says this is not fair. We should also consider, while deciding this MSP, we should also consider that unpaid family labor amount as well. Because let's say Guna has worked, Guna's parents has worked, Guna's wife has worked, Guna's children has worked. They are not getting any wages, but when an agricultural laborer, some other person comes and work, then we have to give, that is, that agricultural laborer has to be paid, right? But Guna's family's labor effort that is not being paid, it is going unpaid, right? So the MSP which the government assures, that is based on the input cost, that calculation is based on the input cost plus the unpaid family labor. That unpaid family labor, that cost will also be taken into consideration. So after adding the input cost, after adding the unpaid family labor, the CACP is going to arrive at MSP. So right now the government, in principle, government, they wanted to pay roughly 1.5 times of this A2 plus FL. That is right now the government's current MSP formula, which guarantees minimum 1.5 times of A2 plus FL, right? That is Guna, let's assume that Guna has produced 1 kg of rice. For 1 kg of rice, this much amount of input, okay, input, let us assume that Guna has put an input of 5 rupees, then family labor, okay, 5 rupees, so totally 10 rupees, right? So totally 10 rupees. So 1.5 times of this amount will be given as MSP, will be announced as MSP, okay. So let us say 15 rupees is going to be the MSP. So the MSP is derived based on this A2 plus FL formula by the government. But whether the farmers are happy with this formula? No. Farmers, they are demanding a formula, they are demanding MSP based on something called as C2. So what is C2? So a committee was appointed under the chairmanship of MS Swaminathan. So MS Swaminathan committee was recommending C2 formula. The MSP should be based on C2 formula. Let us see what is the C2 formula. So C2 formula will take into consideration of the input cost, will take into consideration of the unpaid family labor, will also take into account of, let us say I am a farmer, I am renting the land and I am doing a farming activity, so I am paying rent also. So if that rent is also going to be an expenditure, so the C2 formula will also include the rent. Let's assume that I have purchased a tractor, I have borrowed money from the bank or a cooperative, I have purchased a tractor for which I am paying interest, for the loan which I have borrowed for which I am paying interest. So also add the interest. So C2 formula is going to be even more comprehensive. It is going to be even more comprehensive. It is going to be more realistic and useful for the farmers, because it includes the input cost, it includes the family labor, it also includes the rent paid by the farmers for their land, right? And also it takes into account of the farmers would have borrowed money for which they would have paid some interest. That interest amount is also taken into consideration. So C2 formula includes everything. So what farmers they are demanding? They want 1.5 times of C2. They want 1.5 times of C2, but what government guarantees? Government guarantees minimum 1.5 times of A2 plus FL. It need not be 1.5 always. Government can change based on the situation, based on the bumper protection, or if there is a distress trail, government can change that value. But in principle, government has agreed that it is going to be 1.5 times of A2 plus FL. But what the farmers are expecting, they are looking for 1.5 times of C2. Right? I hope you got it. Now you may ask a question, sir, whether this MSP is going to be available for all the crops? No, this MSP is not for all the crops. MSP is announced for 23 notified crops. It is announced for 23 notified crops. Now what are those crops? What are those crops? Okay, it includes 7 cereals. It includes 7 oil seeds. It includes 5 pulses varieties. It includes 4 commercial crop. It includes 4 commercial crops. So what are those 4 commercial crops? So it includes cotton, it includes copra, it includes jute, it also includes sugarcane. But friends, however, for sugarcane we have another concept which is called as fair remunerative prices. About FRP, I will discuss about it in some other video. But however, if you see all the government documents, when they say MSP, they refer to 23 crops. The 23 crops include sugarcane. But however, for sugarcane alone, a special case, we have a separate concept called as FRP, that is fair remunerative prices, about which we will discuss later. So this MSP is announced only for these 23 notified crops, and it is not available for all the crops. It is available only for these 23 notified crops. Now tell me, what is the significance of announcing this MSP? You just think, what is significance? So this MSP, it is guaranteeing the farmers that there is one person who will surely buy. There is one person who is going to surely buy. Who is that? Government. So this gives an assurance to the farmers. This gives an assurance. That assurance is going to give confidence to the farmers for what? For practicing agriculture. Right? If it's assumed that, just imagine a wild imagination, if there is no such concept called as MSP, if government is not procuring, the farmers, they have to sell only to the private player, what will happen? Assume a situation, if private players, they are not willing to buy. If private players, if they are not paying adequate money, farmers, almost 86% of farmers in India, they belong to small and marginal category who hold a land holding, operational land holding of less than 2 hectares. Lands are fragmented, right? So many 50 crore plus farmers. right? So the land holding is not consolidated. Okay, so because of these reasons, there's a huge scope for private players to exploit the farmers. In the absence of MSP, the farmers can be exploited. That was the first instance why in 1965 government came with MSP. Government also had another reason for bringing MSP, but from farmers' perspective, you just imagine, if there is one person who is ready to buy the output, then I will be very confident to grow, to practice agriculture activity. So this gives a sense of confidence, assurance to the farmers that makes the farmer to continue this practice. But however, this MSP provision is limited only to 23 crops. You just imagine what will happen if government is going to extend this MSP for all the crops. What would happen? Likewise, you also think, what would happen if this MSP is being removed? What will happen if MSP is extended to all the crops? What will be the consequence? Just think. Similarly, you also think what will happen if government is going to rule out this MSP practice, because this MSP is not having any statutory backing. There is no law which guarantees MSP. Even the CACP which recommends this MSP, it is not a statutory body, right? So if government decides, a single signature, government can do away with the concept of MSP. So if government is going to remove the MSP, what will happen? Or if government is going to extend the MSP for all the crops, then what will be the consequence? Right? Pros, cons you discuss, which will be very useful for writing mains answers. Alright. So right now the main reason behind the protest is going on in Delhi is MSP. Government, they are coming up with, they came with some reforms in agriculture. They introduced some major reforms in agriculture through 3 acts, through 3 laws government came, right? None of these 3 laws is talking about MSP. MSP is something that is very, very important for the farmers, but however, the said reforms is not talking anything about MSP. So this is creating some sort of speculation among the mind of the farmers that maybe going forward in future, government may rule out MSP. But however, from government side, government is saying that government has not said anything about MSP. Government did not say that they are going to rule out MSP. But however, there is an apprehension in the mind of the farmers that going by the spirit of these reforms, maybe government will do away with MSP in near future. That is why all the protest. That is why MSP becomes a very important topic, not just for your prelims as well as for your mains. There are many other indirect positive and negative consequences because of MSP. For example, cropping pattern will be affected if government is going to give more MSP for only for particular crops. Let's say MSP is available only for 23 crops, then most of the farmers will tend to go only cereals, oil seeds, pulses, commercial crops. Then what about other horticultural crops? Which farmer will be motivated to grow those kind of crops? So there are some negative consequences because of MSP, but however, whether removing MSP can be a solution to address the agrarian crisis, you have to think, or whether extending MSP to all the crops can be a solution for agrarian crisis, which you have to think. So on these lines, you think, you build up some points which will be highly useful for your mains. So whatever I have discussed, I have given in these slides. So these slides you can download, which will be provided in the description box, right? You can go through, you will understand it. I have given up the significance, and I have also asked one question based on the content which we have discussed. You try to answer this question. So give your answer in the comment section. Okay. So I hope you like this initiative. So if you like this initiative, you just give your feedback in the comment section. So we will see in another video with a different topic, right? Thank you.